friends, it's Annette. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a tour of my studio, my craft studio. And I use that term loosely because my craft space is very small, but I make it work. And you know, sometimes I think about my dream craft space. Well, a lot of times I think about it. But ideally, I would love a dedicated room, a separate room for my crafting. But that's not my reality. Right now, I share my craft space with my full-time job workspace. So in front of me, on the other side of the camera, is where I do my full-time job. And then here on this side of the desk is my craft space. Again, it's very small. So my ideal space, like I said, would be a dedicated room with a lot of light, natural light. I don't have that in this space. My room is pretty dark. I have artificial light right now. I have a light to the right of me, to the left of me, in front of me, and I have a window to the left of me, adding some natural light. So I make that work the best I can. Also, my ideal craft room would have lots of shelving, lots of cabinetry, so all of my supplies would have a place. When you have a small craft space, it's really important to stay organized. So for the most part, I do well with that. When I'm crafting, it's off limits. It's just like I use the floor. I use every inch of space that I have, and my craft room is a mess when I'm done. So I try to keep it tidy as I go along, but just sometimes that's just not, it just doesn't happen. So a lot of times I'm cutting paper on the floor or using my embossing machine to die cut on the floor. I just don't have a lot of counter space, which you will see in a moment. So stay with me. The craft tour is next. All right, so here it is. I thought it would be good to start from as I see my space as I enter the room. So the first thing I come to is my full-time job workspace right here. So that is, these are my work computers, and then this is my personal computer, and my printer and my Cricut. So my Cricut machine isn't even in the craft space. It's across the room. But like I said, my room is small, so it's not that far of a walk. And then I leave my full-time job work mode and enter the craft room. So you can see the back side of my work computers, and then this is my craft table. It's very small, but I do make it work. And so let me get over in this side. You can see my artificial lights that I was referring to earlier, and the window, the only window in the room that adds some natural light. So I just have a small craft table here, and over here, this is the same table. And this table I have covered with like a craft mat, just to keep it clean. Underneath I have some storage, and usually it's in the basket is would be products that or not products, but projects that I'm currently working on, and my paper trimmer right there next to it. And then over here on this table is just more storage. These clear bins are where I would have ephemera and sentiment strips. This little bin, I have my stamping platforms. Down here I have blades, baby wipes to wipe up the space, just odds and ends, and foam dimensionals down here. On top of the table, again, a basket, also projects I'm currently working on. And then here I just have a little handy organizer with things I grab all the time. Tape, tape runner, glue, spray bottles of water, some scrap paper, brushes for watercoloring, things like that. Sometimes I'll cut my paper on here, but honestly, most of the time I just go to the floor and start trimming paper. Let me pull my chair in. In between this table and this next space I'm going to show you would be my scoring board and another paper trimmer. This paper trimmer is from Fiskars, and it was my first trimmer, and I do like it. So I use both of my trimmers, and then the scoreboard to score my cardstock. So I usually tuck those away right there. This is pretty much the hub of everything. I have blending brushes, some tools. Um, and these are just things to add to the cards. If I'm making shaker cards, there's shaker fill, things like that. I have bins for inks. I have some stencils and nesting dies in here. You've probably seen this if you've watched some of my earlier videos, but this is just a little, kind of like a cheat sheet where when I was first learning paper card making, it was hard to just kind of keep straight all the measurements, so I would write them down here. For an A2 top fold, the card base is 4¼ by 11, and you score at 5½. And I was just making life a little easier for me. And then sometimes when I'm bored or I don't want to make a card, I'll just cut paper and keep it here at the ready for when I want to make a quick card. And again, I mentioned being organized is really super important for me, especially in this small space. So it does look a little cluttered, but every box is labeled and I know where everything is. These boxes here have stamps, clear stamps, rubber stamps, mixed media like my paste, my solar paste, things like that, rub-on stickers, just anything that I would want to add to a card. Over here I have my die cutting machine, my Sizzix Big Shot. I have some packaging, things like that, my watercolor pencils and markers. And then over here in this little guy, I store just odds and ends, white paper, ivory paper, craft paper, storage pockets, just whatever. It really does come in handy. And I just know where everything is when I need it. So that's good. And up here I have some foam daubers. Oh, what else can I show you? Over here, it's a little bit cluttered, but right now it just is what it is. These bins and this is, I have my cards at a couple local shops, but one of them I'm doing artist setup days and I'm doing card demos. So I have one coming up this Saturday in Westerville, Ohio. So I am just packed up and ready to go for that. And then I usually set these cards on the table. These are the cards that are for sale. And the packaging is just pretty simple. I just have clear bags. And then on the back, I have, I just printed up this little card explaining very briefly about the card, and my information. So those are some Father's Day cards that I whipped up, and they are ready to go. And then over here is this tower of paper and supplies, envelopes, lots of paper. And so that's where I go to get my supplies. And again, I have the floor cleaned up for the video, but normally it's a mess. Here I have some cards that I made that need photographed and put on the website, and I have to finish packaging these couple of cards that I made. These are interesting. These are going to be Father's Day cards. And what I did, let me see if I can get this out one-handedly. I can't, so I'm using two hands. But I made these like little pockets, so whoever gets them can write like the date, the Father's Day of this year, and then I love you, Dad, or whatever they want, and just put it in there. I thought that was a neat idea. So that pretty much is the craft room / work office. Hope you enjoyed it, but you just, you don't need a big fancy craft room. Yeah, it would be great. I would love it. Maybe one day I'll have it, but right now this works. I'm making it work, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.